In the Detroit Pistons' first preseason game against the Memphis Grizzlies, we all got a very clear look at what the Detroit Pistons' identity is going to be this year, and we saw just how explosive it can be. We'll discuss it today's episode of Locked On Pistons podcast. Let's go.
You are Locked On Pistons, your daily Detroit Pistons podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's the deal? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast. Per usual, I am your host, Khahil. I've been covering the Detroit Pistons for the last 4 years, entering into my 5th year covering them for the Locked On Network, been credential media member over the last 3 years. And I want to thank all of you guys who make Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free to available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on. That's another great way to support the podcast. And Pistons basketball is back. I am recording the first game recap, yes, albeit preseason, but we had Detroit basketball to watch, and man, was it a fun watch for Pistons fans everywhere. Today, we'll be discussing how Ron and Ausar looked in their minutes together and why it looked so good. You talk about how Cade Cunningham looked fantastic. And then Daniss Jenkins, just a good player, man. We'll discuss it all in today's episode, man. But the main thing that matters, the main thing that we all saw, the main thing we all got to see in this first preseason game was what the Detroit Pistons' identity is going to be this year, what their identity is going to be this year, and how explosive it will be for them. In the first quarter of this game, the Pistons did not look good. It looked rusty. It looked sloppy. They didn't play very well. It just wasn't good. It wasn't good at all. Had a lot of turnovers, a lot of easy missed shots, terrible defense. It wasn't looking good. But the Pistons turned around. The first quarter, the score at the end was 24-42. It wasn't looking good. They were down 18. In the second quarter of this, and again, it's a preseason game, but it was a very, very clear, what's the right word? It was a very clear symbolism of what JB Bickerstaff talked about at training camp a few days ago, where he says he wants their defense to be what makes their offense explosive. And that's exactly what happened in the second quarter. The Pistons forced 9 turnovers for the Memphis Grizzlies in the second quarter. 9 turnovers. And off of those turnovers and off the defense they played, the Pistons scored 50 points in the second quarter. Again, they scored 50 points in the second quarter. And it was all built off their incredible defensive play in that second quarter. We were hosting the Playback Room live. If you want to be a part of the live watch parties, again, I'll link the Playback Room down below. You can come join and watch the games with us. It was a lot of fun. Great turnout for the first night, especially for a preseason game. But if you want to talk about what the Pistons' identity is going to be, it is going to be turnovers, forcing turnovers, getting steals, getting blocks, and running, and just making teams pay because everyone on the floor for them can run in transition and score in transition. In the second quarter, let me read you guys these stats real quick. Cade had two steals. Tobias had 2 steals. Duncan Robinson had a steal. Ausar Thompson had a steal. Ron Holland had a steal. Paul Reed had 2 blocks. They went crazy in that second quarter. Absolutely crazy. And it all was feasted off their defense. Honestly, it was so much fun to watch. It was incredibly fun to watch. And if that's how the Pistons want to build their team and that's how they want to thrive, you got the clear picture in that second quarter of how it's going to look like. And like I was saying, I got a little segued or distracted. I completely forgot to continue on the point I was actually making. During the Playback Room, I was talking about this and I joked around a little bit, but I'm being for real. We all know about the Golden State Warrior third quarter of hell, where they would come out in the third quarter, they hit 10 threes in a minute and a half, and next thing you know, you go from being up 3 down 24 or something. Like it was, we all know about that that legendary third quarter from the Golden State Warriors that everyone remembers during their heyday. What the Pistons are trying to do, they're not trying to resemble that type of offensive explosion. They're trying to resemble what the OKC Thunder would do to teams this past year and what you watched the OKC Thunder do to teams in the playoffs, where they're not going on these back-breaking 20-0 runs from their offense hitting 5 threes, Steph Curry hitting 5 threes, or SGA going out there hitting 3 threes, J-Dub hitting 2, and then all of a sudden in a matter of minutes because they hit so many threes, you're down 20. That's not what they're trying to do. What they're trying to do is how OKC all of last year, and especially in the playoffs, for like they would have stretches. They would have a 2.5 minute stretch, like a 3-minute stretch, where they just force 6 or 7 turnovers. They are running in transition, running in fast break. If they're at home, they're just they're getting the crowd behind them and completely overshadowing you. If they're on the road, they're completely quieting every down. It's as quiet as a mouse. And they're getting 14, 16, 18 points just like that off of defensive turnovers and just breaking your back off of turnovers and defense. And next thing you know, just like the Warriors, you look up at the score 2 minutes later, you're down 12 because they hit a bunch of threes out of nowhere. Same thing, you're down 12-14 to the OKC Thunder, but this time it's because of fast break dunks and layups because they've just turned you over so much defensively and you don't know what to do. That's what the Pistons look like in this game in the second quarter, and that's what they're trying to build their team around. They are trying to build that version of what the OKC Thunder do, where they have multiple defenders all over the floor. They have multiple ball handlers all over the floor. They have athletes everywhere that can make you pay in transition. Every single time you miss a shot, every single time we turn you over, every single time we block your shot, we force it to everything, we are going to run. That's what the Pistons mentality is. In that second quarter, that was an absolute beauty to watch. You want to talk about having a fun watch for preseason games? You want to talk about having an absolute blast watching a preseason game? That right there delivered. There are some rough watches for preseason basketball. It's preseason. Guys are just knocking rust off. It's not supposed to be taken that serious. But the Pistons delivered. That second quarter, that was a hell of a watch for the Pistons, and that gave everyone a clear look at what the Pistons' identity is going to be this year. That was a ton of fun to watch. And if their defense can play like that, they are going to be pretty damn explosive. And they're going to be pretty scary to deal with in transition all year for opposing teams. Let me know. Comment section down below or over on Twitter at Khahil. How you guys feel about what you saw from the Pistons in that first half and what you saw from them in that second quarter especially. Let me know. Comment section down below or over on Twitter at Khahil. Coming up, Cade Cunningham looked absolutely fantastic. And we saw a lot of the Ron and the Ausar Thompson minutes. We'll discuss how they look together and how great Cade looked coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love how FanDuel gives me so many ways to play. I've built parlays, I've tried player props, and even followed live lines during games. It makes watching football even more exciting when you've got a little something riding on the action. Whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started again. And if you put $5 down and it hits, as a new customer, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Just visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started with FanDuel. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on. That's another great way to support the podcast. If you want to join us for the next watch Thursday for the Pistons preseason game in the playback room and watch the game live with all of us, I'll link it down below in the description. You can join us and have a lot of fun. It was a great turnout first day. Tomorrow, I'm recording this right after the Pistons game, so Tuesday, I should say, I will have a film breakdown going over what we saw in that second quarter from the Detroit Pistons and some of my favorite plays over on the Substack. I'll link that down below for you guys as well. But let's go ahead and get into how great the Pistons franchise player Cade Cunningham looked in this game. Cade looked absolutely fantastic. Like, the best was honestly, I want to say some of the best I've ever seen him for real. Like, he looked absurd in that first half. He only played, what did he play? 18 minutes, basically 19 minutes, 18 minutes and 57 seconds. Played 19 minutes, and in those 19 minutes, he had 20 points, 4 assists, and 3 rebounds on 8 of 11 shooting. He got to the free throw line 3 times. He shot 2 of 3 from deep, had 2 steals, 81 true shooting. The ways in which Cade was scoring was a sight to see. He had some incredibly tough finishes at the rim that give you hope that this is the year you have that finishing leap. You get that finishing leap, and all of a sudden the efficiency goes through the roof, and we're talking top player in the NBA. We're talking MVP votes kind of stuff. He had some really tough finishes at the rim through contact. You absolutely love seeing that. And he had one absolutely crazy, absurd finish off a terrible alley-oop pass, by the way, from Tobias. Tobias threw Cade a terrible alley-oop pass, but Cade catches it with his right hand, reverses it, or he catches it with his left hand, I believe. No, it was his right hand. Catches it with his right hand in the air, then reverses it to his left underneath the rim on the other side of the glass, and finishes just a crazy, absurd highlight play from Cade off of that alley-oop pass. It really should have been a highlight dunk, but Tobias, come on, man, you got to improve your alley-oop passes. But he had that crazy finish, had some great finishes at the rim. He was going to his floater. He had a running 1 foot floater in the paint as well. He went to the floater quite a few times, which I love seeing. He even went to a left-hand floater as well, which, again, I love seeing that he has such confidence in that short mid-range area to go for those floaters. And then he even had a step-back 3 on the left, in the left corner. Drove, stepped back off of it, all net. Looked absolutely fantastic. You guys know last episode I talked about I wanted to see some pull-up threes from him in this game. I got a step-back 3. Absolutely love seeing it. He looked absolutely fantastic. I don't have any complaints about Cade. I remember last year, we talked about this last episode. Last year, people were talking about, man, Cade's not really taking preseason serious. So we'd be concerned, about, like, I remember that. And then this preseason, this first game, he looked absolutely fantastic. He looked great. That was some of the best I've seen Cade play in such a short span. He was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Loved it. Now I want to move into what we saw from Ausar Thompson and Ron Holland. In this game, let's just give you guys the stat line. Ausar had 5 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Ron had 9 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. Ausar shot 2 of 5 from the field. Ron shot 3 of 6. I'm not even so much concerned, though. I'm not going to sit here. They both had a few steals, a block, etc., whatever. What I want to focus on is how they looked together. And it's exactly what I told you guys we were going to have to see. If you were going to play both these guys together, you were going to have to see Isaiah Stewart start to shoot threes. You were going to have to start seeing Isaiah Stewart pop on these pick and rolls instead of my goodness, can I speak? Roll all the way to the rim. He was going to have to start popping and start taking threes. And you saw that almost every single time in the screen and roll or the screen game with Isaiah Stewart. He was popping out to the top of the key. He was taking a 3 from the right wing. He was popping out to the corner. He was trying to space the floor out, and they played. And for what it's worth, I should have mentioned this earlier, by the way. Jalen Duren didn't play in this game. It's just day to day. It doesn't seem like it's anything serious. Just it's day to day. It's a preseason game. Just take it relaxed. And don't take any risk, whatever. So, he didn't play. But the point is that if you're going to play Ron and Ausar together, you're going to have to play them with Stu because Stu's the guy that can space the floor. And they were playing Stu and Duncan Robinson with them to try and give them this needed spacing. What was so fun about watching Ron and Ausar play tonight was how much havoc they were causing, one, defensively. Like I said, they both had a couple steals and a couple blocks. They were fantastic defensively. They were wrecking havoc all over the place. But I said this live during the stream as well, that watching them play and getting stops and running, and even when they would make shots and running off of that, getting turnovers and running, the way in which that Ausar was running off of these reminded me of how he looked back at OTE with his brother. It looked like Ron and Ausar was looking like Ausar and Amen back at OTE, how they were just, it was after every shot, after every turnover, after every block, it was outlet pass all the way down the court, or outlet pass to the half court. Next thing you know, they're getting a shot up in 5 seconds. Like, that's how Ausar and Amen played at OT. They were getting shots up quick as ever because they were just so much more athletic than everybody else. And when the Pistons have Ausar and Ron on the floor together, they are going to have the most athletic wings on the floor 99% of the time. Like, they are going to be the most athletic guys on the floor. And when Ron got a rebound, he was outletting it to Ausar. Ausar was taking off, and they were getting shot off in 5 seconds. When Ausar would get a rebound or a steal or whatever, he was throwing it up the floor immediately, or he was taking it himself and going to a Euro step, one-handed dunk, which was super nice to see. They were the way in which Ausar, who, by the way, played a ton of point guard minutes tonight. He was asked to run a lot of the Pistons offense. I absolutely loved seeing it. I thought it looked great. He had a turnover trying to snake a pick and roll. That wasn't great to see. But overall, I thought you really loved seeing that. Cade got to play. He was even doing it in Cade minutes. He was playing really well, and Cade was able to get easier buckets off the ball. I think you're going to see a lot of that this year. So I love seeing all that. But the way in which the Pistons were playing with Ron and Ausar on the floor, it just reminded me so much of it reminded me so much of how Ausar and Amen played at OTE, how fast they love to play, the defense turning into offense instantly, getting fast break layup, fast break dunks, or kicking out for a three in transition because you're just taxing the other team. They can't keep up. That's how they looked in that second quarter and even in that third quarter when those two guys were on the floor together. I just loved it. I thought they looked great. I think you're going to see even more of it, obviously, as the season goes on. It's just preseason. But you saw what you wanted to see as far as how it's going to work. They're probably not going to be great half court wise. They're going to have to continue to work on that when those two guys are on the floor, continue to get better. Ron did hit a three, but he missed a few other ones. Didn't shoot the greatest from three. But you saw how JB's thinking. We're going to play Ron and Ausar together. We're going to play them with Duncan because he's the best spacer, and he's going to be great in transition, catching, shooting threes off of their drives and their gravity as drivers. And then we're going to play Stu, and Stu's going to start popping this year. Stu's going to start shooting threes this year. And they're going to space the floor out, and we'll play them, whether it's with Caris LeVert, who's good in transition and maybe a calming presence. If they start to turn the ball over a little bit, he can run the show a little bit. Or I would really like to see them on the floor with not Caris LeVert, but another shooter to really space it out. Maybe even a Jaden Ivey who can shoot a little bit better than Caris LeVert and also provide some of that ball handling and transition and speed. I think that would be a lot of fun. But I think you saw what you wanted to see out of these guys. You saw what JB is thinking and how he wants to deploy it and how it's going to work. And like we mentioned in the first segment, these two guys are central. They are, along with Stu, Ron, Ausar, and Stu are so important to the identity that they're trying to build. This, we're going to get stops and we're just running. We're just absolutely taking off. Those guys are so important, and you saw them at the head of everything defensively in that second quarter, in that third quarter. So, look, man, like I said earlier, this was an absolutely fun watch for Pistons fans. And I thought Ron, Ausar, and Stu all looked great tonight. I thought the trio of them playing together on the floor was super fun to see. And I can't wait to see it deployed during the regular season. I can't wait to see more of Ron attacking downhill, especially in transition and fast break or even in the half court. I can't wait to see more point Ausar and creating for others and getting all the way to the rim. We saw him go to a pull-up midi, which did not look good. It was a bad miss. But you saw him be more aggressive with the shot. He was going to more shots, and if you want to use this time in preseason to test out those shots, you'll take it. You just want to see that aggressiveness stay there with Ausar, and you saw that tonight. And then with Stu, his defense was crazy. He has crazy blocks at the rim. He had some crazy dunks underneath the basket as well, off of rebounds and dump offs. And then he was spacing the floor out as well. I thought Stu looked fantastic as well. So it was fun, man. It's just one preseason game, but that was fun. That was a lot of fun. Coming up though, to wrap it up, listen, man, Daniss Jenkins. Every time I see him, we're about to change his name to Daniss Just Good Jenkins, because he's just a good basketball player. We'll talk about it coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there is Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you put off organizing finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes and see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever having to touch a spreadsheet. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDINNBA at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNBA. That's code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com to get 50% off your first year with Monarch Money. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons, hit that subscribe button, or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. The Playback Substack is all linked down below for you guys if you guys want to check that out. But we're going to wrap up my thoughts here on the Pistons' first preseason game quickly here. My last biggest takeaway from this game, and it's not going to be one of the main guys. It's not going to be one of the main core guys. It's not going to be one of the I don't think you would call this guy a core guy. But every time he plays, he just balls out, man. Every single time he plays, he just looks good. He just hoops. He goes out there, he plays the right way, he looks good. Like, I don't know what to say. He deserves his credit. And that is Daniss Jenkins, bro. Going all the way back to Summer League. Every single time this dude touches the floor, I just watch him. I'm like, that's an NBA player. He just looks good. He plays the right way. He makes the right decisions. He makes the right passes. He makes shots. He makes good drives to the rim. He has tough finishes. He has nifty finishes. He had a really crazy Euro step finish tonight in semi-transition that looked absolutely filthy. Lost to defenders. He looked like it was just he is an NBA player. I am willing to say that now. Don't know if he'll ever be a consistent role player. Don't know if he'll ever be a consistent rotation player. Don't know about that. We'll see. Hopefully he ends up becoming that. But all I know is that he is an NBA player. In this game tonight, he only played 15 minutes, but he had 7 points, 6 assists, shot 3 of 5 on the field. He only had 1 turnover, drew 3 fouls. Like, he just multiple great drives to the rim and great dump offs off of it, great kickouts, great reads as an off-ball playmaker, making the extra pass, attacking closeouts, finishing on. Like, he's just, I don't think he made one. He had a great rotation on defense as well. I almost forgot about that. He was playing 2 on one side, read the passer, intercepted the pass, and was able to lead a fast break. Just literally everything about Daniss. Every single time I watch him, I'm just like, okay, why isn't he an NBA player? I'm not saying he's going to be a star. I'm not saying he's going to be 6th man of the year. But just tell me why is he not an NBA player? Everything I see from him tells me he's an NBA player. Every time he steps on the court, he plays well. And his minutes in the second half, the Grizzlies were playing actual NBA players. They weren't playing their end of bench guys. They were actually playing Scottie Pippen Jr., KCP, Santi Aldama. Like, they were playing their guys. And Daniss was doing this. So look, Daniss deserves a shout out. I know he's not one of the Pistons stars. I know he's not ever going to be, the first topic of an episode or anything. Like, I get that. But he deserves his respect, man. He hoops. He goes out there and he hoops, and he might be one of the Pistons. Like, you know how we always talk about how they needed to find like their two-way guy, their diamond in the rough. I think Daniss could be that, bro. Like, I'm not saying he's gonna be a superstar, but a guy that you find out of nowhere that may be just an NBA player, and that's really important to find a guy, pluck a guy out of nowhere, and be like, okay, we've turned him into an NBA player. That's good value, and I think Daniss is that, bro. I just think he's really good. I think Daniss is a really good player. Outside of that, Chaz Lanier, low-key looked fine. Like, I was saying this during the stream, Daniss never jumped off the screen to me as doing something inherently wrong. Like, I don't feel like he ever... Did he turn the ball over in this game? I don't feel like he did. Yeah, he didn't turn the ball over in this game. He had a nice block at the rim, a nice rotation and block at the rim, which was nice to see. He looked a lot bigger in the Pistons jerseys. I don't know if people felt like that in the summer league, but I don't feel like he looked that big. His arms, like his wingspan really popped on the court today. Like, he just looked a lot stronger than I thought I remembered him in the summer league. So that was cool to see, I guess. But yeah, he shot 4 of 6 from the field. No, it's 3 of 5 from deep. His shot is quick as ever. He gets it up fast as ever. One of the quickest shots I've seen in the NBA, to be honest. I'm not going to lie to you guys. And he had 11 points. He played his role. He did what he was supposed to do. He wasn't going out there trying to do anything he can't do. He went out there, shot the ball, played defense. That's what it is. And he didn't pop off the screen to me doing anything bad. So I low-key thought it was a really good showing for Chaz. Really good. Don't know if he's going to crack the rotation. He's not going to be like a rotation guy. But a second-round guy coming out and looking good, you will take that. I think he looked fine in preseason game 1. Duncan, I thought he looked good. He had a few really good drives to the rim. I think fans are really going to be surprised at how good he is actually driving to the rim on closeouts and straight line drives. looked really good on that. He airballed his first 3-point attempt for the Pistons. That wasn't good, but then he ended up making 2 more, so he's good. Tobias looked good. He looked spry. He looked honestly young. He went up for a dunk for like the 3rd time of the night and came up a little gimpy. Looks like I think he'll stay away from dunking a little bit now. But I thought Duncan and Tobias both looked good. Ivy looked fine. Don't have much takeaways with Ivy. You can see him knocking the rust off. He's trying to get back into it. It wasn't the greatest showing, but he hasn't played in a while, so give him some grace. And it's the preseason, so who cares? And then, yeah, I guess we'll wrap it up. I mean, like, I thought this was just an overall really good showing from the Detroit Pistons. They did their thing. They show what their identity is going to be early in preseason. It's just preseason game 1, but you clearly saw what they're going for. You saw the type of lamps they're going to try to play and what their idea behind that is. And you saw what it looks like when it plays out well. 50 points off 9 turnovers in 1 quarter. It's just crazy. It's crazy. So let me know, comment section down below or over on Twitter at Khahil, how you guys felt about the Pistons' first preseason game. What was your guys' biggest takeaways? But that's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. Free and available on all your podcast platforms. Hit that subscribe button to the YouTube channel. Leave us a 5-star review, whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on. And until next time, I will see you guys later. Stay safe out there and peace out, everybody.